What is up, my friends, and welcome to another edition of the AEW Week in Review. I'm your host, Mark Perry, editor of Pro Wrestling News Hub, covering pro wrestling and not sports entertainment. On this week's show, we had the go-home show for AEW All Out. We have predictions. Of course, we got our man, Mr. Fourth Row, checking in with his match that would steal the show, which is interesting. Plus, so much more going on. PWI announcing Jon Moxley as being their number one wrestler, and stuff that's going on behind the scenes with NXT and AEW, plus ratings information, and so much more. So how do you get in touch with the show? Simply email podcast@prowrestlingnewshub.com with your MP3, your videos, your thoughts, or call 888-430-7692 extension 3. Cutoff time, remember, is 6 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays, and to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and we'll play it on the show. We'll show it on the show. And remember to like and subscribe to us all over YouTube. We restarted our YouTube channel, focusing 100% on AEW stuff, so you want to support us there as we put out great content there. So without further ado, folks, let's just get into the week that was AEW. Quick recap of AEW Dark this week. The big main event, Private Party versus The Initiative. I think you know who's going to win that one. First up, Shawn Spears defeated Eddie Torres in a singles match. I think it was Eddie Torres' first time in AEW ring. Proud and Powerful, Santana Ortiz defeated Fabio Andre and Rizine. Then we had Ali versus defeated Cassandra Golden, women's match. Couple women's matches this week. Frankie Kazarian defeated Angelico. This one was probably one of the better matches of the night, especially considering, I wasn't sure which way this would go between Frankie and Angelico, but Frankie gets the win. The Gun Club, Billy and Austin defeat Donnie Primetime and Ryan Rembrandt. The Gun Club making a little run. They are 6-0. Abaddon, the lady you want to bring to home, defeated Danny Jordan. You should bring Abaddon. That's hey, Mom, check out my new girlfriend. Be good. Ricky Starks defeated Tony Deontay. The Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy defeated John Cruz and David Ali. Anna Jay gets the win, defeating Red Velvet. Two popular ladies on Pro Wrestling News Hub, that's for sure. Anna Jay gets her, I believe this might be her first singles win, maybe? Kip Sabian defeated Sean Dean. Sean Dean, a guy that we've always talked about. Would love to have him on the AEW roster. Finally, match of the night, the primetime main event, Isaiah Cassidy, Mark Quinn, Private Party, defeated Brandon Cutler and Peter Avalon. No shocker in that one. All right, we have AEW Dynamite results for September 2nd episode. Some winners, grades, highlights, etc., etc. We had the pre-show. Then we had the first match, Santana and Ortiz versus Best Friends. Winners, Santana and Ortiz. I keep talking a lot about, hey, why aren't these guys in the top 5 in the tag team? People talking about tag teams, and then Santana and Ortiz are not mentioned whatsoever, and they're never in that top 5. This was a good match. Gave it a 3.0. Got MJF checking in. The 8-man tag. Winners face each other at All Out. Private Party and SCU versus Young Bucks and Jurassic Express. Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. Winners, Young Bucks and Jurassic Express. I gave this one a 3.25. To me, this was the elite match of the night. The Young Bucks have been killing it lately in their matches. I think most of my matches of the nights keep going to the Young Bucks. It's just something, the way they're booked and how they perform and just everything that happens, some innovative things that the Young Bucks are just killing it right now. Where are they in the PWI top? Can they be in there, or is it an individual thing? Jake Hager checks in with Orange Cassidy. FTR and Kenny Omega and Hangman Page have a little thing going on. Here's my thing. Is Kenny Omega about to turn heel or go to that Kenny the Cleaner character or something? I hope he does. I really, this is going to be the most interesting match to me at All Out this weekend. Single match, Chris Jericho versus Joey Janela. No surprise here. Chris Jericho with the win. Gave this one a 2.75. It was good. Joey Janela did good. We knew where this was going to go with this one. Every single wrestler backstage, Taz, Ricky Starks, Brian Cage, Lance Archer, Eddie Kingston, to name a few, came out. Eddie Kingston basically told Jake the Snake Roberts to shut up. And yeah, Jake kind of rambles on a little bit. Give Eddie Kingston the mic. It should be interesting to see how this match goes. This is going to be a lot of fun at All Out, this casino battle royale type thing going on. The women's singles match, NWA's women's champion Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deb. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. This was actually a really good match for two people that have never been on Dynamite before. This was a good match. And both I would love to see on the AEW roster. This was a good women's match. I gave it a 2.50 stars. Thunder Rosa with the win there. Excited to see Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa go at it at All Out. That should be a lot of fun. Moxley checks in. Big Swole and Dr. Britt Baker get into it a little bit. Then we had Jon Moxley, of course, versus the lawyer, MJF's lawyer, Mark Sterling. No shocker here. Jon Moxley wins. I gave this a 1. This was okay, but terrible. I guess you don't want Mox to get hurt before All Out, but then MJF came out and beat him up, and there you have it. AEW Dynamite. Now we have next up All Out. We have the ratings information in for both AEW Dynamite and NXT. Ratings for the Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020 edition of AE Dynamite were released Thursday. According to a report by Showbuzz Daily, AEW finished 8th overall for the night. Dynamite drew a whopping 928,000 viewers, way up from last week's 813,000 viewers, which was also a good number. This is their AEW's highest rating since March 18th. They finished 11th last week on a Thursday night because they shifted everything because of the NBA playoffs. Dynamite was live this week at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida, and this was the go-home show for AEW All Out, the pay-per-view that's taking place on Saturday. On Tuesday, with no competition from AEW, NXT drew well as well. 849,000 viewers, up from last week's 824,000 viewers, which they also did without any competition from AEW. It finished 10th overall, way up from last week's 24th overall. A sign that NXT might be a little bit better off on Tuesday nights rather than trying to go head-to-head with AEW. Based on the ratings, the NBA playoffs dominated the top 2 spots, with only 4 news shows finishing in the top 15. Sports and some Tyler Perry shows on BET made up most of the top 15 for Wednesday night, September 2nd. The question is, does NXT move to Tuesday nights to be better off? And that would actually be really well for Dynamite. Honestly, the two going head-to-head does not help Dynamite at all. Having Dynamite on its own night, on a Wednesday night, without any competition from AEW, would be fantastic for the up-and-coming promotion. All Elite Wrestling President and CEO Tony Khan recently took to Twitter to comment on AEW Dynamite being chosen as one of TV Guide's current top 100 shows. AEW Dynamite was featured on TV Guide's 100 Best Shows of Television Right Now column, as they were able to secure the 57th spot. Not bad. This is what TV Guide had to say about AEW. Quote, AEW Dynamite's arrival was an electric jolt to mainstream wrestling, which has gotten creatively stagnant over the last few years, thank WWE. Each 2-hour-long episode serves up an action-packed spectacle with gripping matches, a dynamic roster of eclectic characters we haven't previously seen in professional wrestling, see Orange Cassidy, and creative storytelling that keeps fans on their toes, from Cody Rhodes' career-defining promo to Nyla Rose's groundbreaking championship win to Chris Jericho's viral champagne joke. Well, that's true. A little bit of the bubbly. Dynamite not only lives up to the name, but also represents the best of what today's wrestling has to offer. Close quote. Yes, They got it right on the spot there. This is what Tony Khan had to say, quote, "It's an honor for AEW Wrestling that AEW Dynamite, chosen in TV Guide, is one of the current top 100 shows. With so many excellent shows across so many channels and platforms, we're grateful that Dynamite was in their top 100. See you Wednesday live on TNT." That's from Tony Khan. So, hey, my friends over at TNT, if you think about touching something, because sometimes corporate people do this, they touch things that ain't broke. It ain't broke, leave it be, and let Tony and the crew do their thing, and they will make you look good. The AEW versus NXT Wednesday night ratings war might soon be coming to a close in just 1 year. AEW Dynamite has won the ratings feud that began late last year, primarily both in total viewership and of the all-important demo god, 18 to 49 demo. Last month, we reported a lot of unhappiness within WWE because NXT is losing the ratings battle to AEW Dynamite almost every week, and sometimes badly, with Dynamite basically being in the top 5 shows and NXT, without a big name main roster person, sits below the top 50. WrestleVotes sent out the following tweet stating that WWE and USA Network officials have discussed potentially moving NXT to a different night. However, no decision has been made just yet, nor would there be a big change anytime soon. Viewership numbers for this week's NXT average 849,000 viewers, second best viewership number in 2020, and drew a 0.26 rating in the key 18 to 49 demo, 10th best on cable that night. Good numbers like these could make the decision easier because their show was on Tuesday. They moved because USA Network had some NHL playoffs going on. Now the question is, with good numbers like this, would it make the decision easier for both sides to make this move? However, both WWE and the USA Network would have to agree to move NXT, something Vince McMahon might not want to do. Quote, "Over the past few months or so, discussions have transpired regarding NXT moving off Wednesday nights. No decision is imminent. However, talks are ongoing. The numbers over the last 2 weeks might have some impact on their decision." Close quote. The USA Network moved, of course, NXT to Tuesday nights for these 2 episodes due to the NHL playoffs. Anybody watch NHL? Past 2 weeks have seen NXT go unopposed by AEW due to TNT airing them on Saturday and Thursdays because of the NBA playoffs. During this time, NXT has done better numbers without going head-to-head with AEW. Now, according to Fightful Select, the idea of NXT moving nights has actually been pitched about 2 months ago with the idea of moving the show to Tuesday nights. The network has a good relationship with WWE, but Fightful sources stated that they aren't totally committed to the idea of NXT competing head-to-head with AEW Dynamite. So they're not really totally committed to that idea. It's like, do we really want to do this? And you're moving this brand, basically ruining the brand by having it going against AEW. And from what fans have been telling me, I don't watch it, was that NXT is not what it used to be. Again, because they're trying to compete and bring in Finn Balor and Charlotte Flair to matches. Come on. They're supposed to be on your main shows. But the battle between the brands costs NXT viewership because they don't get that 800,000. Sources close to USA Network are reportedly saying that the next 2 weeks with NXT on Tuesday nights is being seen as a potential test run on that night. And so far, the test run is looking good. Congratulations go out to Jon Moxley. He's named the #1 wrestler in 2020 from Pro Wrestling Illustrated's top 500 list. Yes, yours truly did not make the list, I just want to point out. So it was recently announced by Pro Wrestling Illustrated that AEW World Champion Jon Moxley is the top #1 ranked wrestler in the world. Pro Wrestling Illustrated set to release their special collector's edition magazine as they celebrate their 30th year of the PWI 500 list, as well as ranking the top wrestlers from all over the world. Pro Wrestling Illustrated even revealed the criteria used for picking the top wrestlers, which is done from July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2020. So it basically is now started for 2021. The criteria, in case you're interested and you're a wrestler out there, picking the top wrestler in the world is as follows: win-loss record, technical ability, influence on the sport, which he has, success against the highest grade competition, the New Japan stuff was good. Success against the most diverse competition, New Japan, wrestling, and other places, and plus activity, and he's been all over the place. You can see Pro Wrestling's official announcement on their Twitter. Quote, since the cover is already making its way around online, no point in waiting any longer. Congratulations to AEW's Jon Moxley for being ranked the number one wrestler in this year's PWI 500. Pre-order your copy now, pwi500.com. I think I might have to go out and get that magazine just because Moxley is on the cover and they just started AEW. So I think that's pretty dang cool. Now, some people aren't so thrilled with that. WWE's Adam Cole, well, he responded to Moxley being named number one. So top NXT superstar Adam Cole was ranked as the number 2 wrestler in the world by PWI. It's 500. So maybe that's why he's a little upset. Cole recently took to Twitter to respond to Moxley being ranked number 1 and said that he will be number 1 wrestler in the world in 2021. Some other notable to round up the top 10 best pro wrestlers in the world from the list. Le Champion, Chris Jericho at number 3. WWE Champion Drew McIntyre at 4. New Japan star Toshido Naito as number 5, as well as Kashadi Okada. I'm going to say it wrong and you guys are going to get pissed. Cody Rhodes at 7, Seth Rollins at 8, Kofi Kingston at 9, and AJ Styles at 10. Rollins, who came in at 9 or 8, was ranked number 1 in last year's PWI 500 list, which I agree with that. Adam Cole is interesting because he is on NXT. He's not even on the main show. Adam Cole was ranked 18th in last year's PW 500, but made it all the way to number 2, jumping a lot. Jon Moxley also jumped 20 spots from last year's list, climbing all the way to number 1, of course. And we've got the cover there, and Cole says, number 2, huh? All right, see ya soon, 2021. Adam Cole, baby, number 1. Wouldn't it be something if we could see Adam Cole in an AEW roster in 2021? However, I believe his contract is not up, he's got a long-term deal with WWE, so I don't think he is going anywhere. But it's interesting. WWE has a guy who was ranked number 2, and he's on NXT, who's not getting good ratings compared to AEW. Jon Moxley says that Vince McMahon is the WWE's biggest problem. So the world champion Mox recently was a guest on the Wrestling Observer radio program where he said WWE Chairman Vince McMahon is WWE's biggest problem and the Thunderdome isn't going to fix their problems, among other things. Totally agree with that. Here are some comments about Vince McMahon being WWE's biggest problem. Quote, it's one person, 3 letters, VKM. Until he's gone or relinquishes control, it's not going to change. When I've watched the show during the pandemic era, I'm like, oh, thank God I'm not there. What would I be doing on the show right now? Can you imagine? Do you think it would be any good? I really don't want to get into bashing them or anything, but all the LED boards and the Thunderdome isn't going to fix their problems, close quote. On scripts being the thing he hated the most in WWE, quote, scripts, I cannot stand this concept of this writer writing words for me. I hate it. It drives me up the wall. It makes me physically nauseous. I said, I want to prove their way sucks. In AEW, you know how many writers we have? 0. 0 writers. It's an unnecessary step between the promo and the booker. The format for AEW, if I have a promo, it says Jon Moxley promo, 2 minutes or whatever it's going to be. That's all it is. There's not 47 pages of dialogue. If I have a promo, there's how it works. I think about what I want to say, and I say it. Close quote. On how he wants WWE to succeed because they represent the wrestling product, quote, I want WWE to be awesome. Honestly, when WWE sucks, at this point, I don't get excited about it. Like, haha, you suck. It kind of pisses me off because they're the number 1 brand in the sport. They represent the sport to a lot of people. And when that product is embarrassing to watch, it makes all of wrestling look bad. You're driving fans away, fans that could potentially be WWE and AEW fans. I want wrestling all over the world to be awesome. The hotter it is all around, the better it is for everybody, close quote. I 100% agree with Jon Moxley. That's why I got rid of allwrestling.com. I was tired of watching WWE's product and being consistently disappointing. I'm like, I got other better things to do. So I jumped ship. AEW came around and I said, let's go for it. I like wrestling. I just can't stand WWE's product. So I'm with Moxley on every single thing. And this is stuff that we thought years ago that VKM has got to go. And until he does, WWE is forever just going to be this vortex of crap. And then they just keep recycling other crap guys to come in to try to fix the crap. And it's just bad for business. Did you know you can get all the latest AEW news right from your phone? That's right, we're excited to announce the Pro Wrestling News Hub app. That's right, and it's free. You can get it for your iPhone. You can get it for your Google Android phone. And they're both free. You get all our breaking AEW news, information from Pro Wrestling News Hub right from your phone. You can just visit the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. What do you get? You get the latest news from Pro Wrestling News Hub. You get push notifications when a new post or story comes out. You get our podcast on the phone. You can leave us a review on iTunes, links to our social media, and so much more. All you have to do is, if you have an iPhone, go to the iTunes store and just look up Pro Wrestling News Hub and download it. Just type in AEW News. You can get our phone app, and guess it is free, my friends. It's free. So head over. You get all the latest news right from your phone, from your friends from Pro Wrestling News Hub, whether you have an iPhone or an Android. And it's best of all, it's free. Let's have some fun and do some AEW All Out predictions. Plus, we'll go through the card. So Saturday, September 5th, 2020, you'll get your All Out pay-per-view live from Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. They are expected to have anywhere from 700 to 750 fans in attendance, which would be nice. It'll be the first time since Revolution, maybe, where in February, where we actually have fans in the stands for a pay-per-view event, which is fantastic. So first up, Jon Moxley versus MJF. I am going to go, I think Moxley holds on to the championship right now. I did think maybe MJF would win it, and then that would set up a potential winner of the 21-man Battle Royal Casino match, which we'll get into. But I'm thinking Moxley's going to take this one. Hikaru Shida versus Thunder Rosa. I'm looking forward to this match. Thunder Rosa looked really good on AEW Dynamite. I wish she was on the roster, but she's with NWA. I think Shida will take the win there. I mean, she's the homegrown person. What is Thunder Rosa going to do if she's the NWA World's Champion and AEW, but she really works for NWA? I don't know how that would work out. AEW World Tag Team Championship. This is where I think we could see a change. I think you could see FTR with the belts, beating Hangman Page and Kenny Omega this way. And then we can see Kenny Omega finally turn heel and turn into the Kenny the Cleaner. Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. I think Chris Jericho takes this one. He can't lose twice to Orange Cassidy. The 20-man Battle Royal Casino Battle Royale. I think if it's Darby Allin, then we could see Darby Allin, Jon Moxley. And they want to bring up one of these young guys. If it's MJF, who in this mix would you have go up against MJF? There's really no faces per se. I mean, you could still do Darby Allin, MJF. But I have a feeling they're going to just keep Moxley with the belt for now. He's doing a good job. And this potentially could set up who I think could be Darby Allin wins the 21-man Casino Battle Royal and set up a Jon Moxley, Darby Allin. But I still don't even think they would give the belt to Darby Allin either. I'm not sure about that one. Broken Rules match, Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. I think Sammy Guevara wins this. I just think Matt Hardy just really has nothing to do right now. And rather than putting him on TV in nothingness, really, let's put him at home for a while. Maybe he's a little injured. I'm not really sure. I just don't see Hardy winning this over Sammy Guevara, and I think Hardy leaves because I think right now his character, he just doesn't know what to do with his character. Maybe because he doesn't have the fans to play off of, so maybe he just sits on the bench for a little bit, let some other guys get some run, and then he comes back maybe in the new year when fans are in attendance. Dark Order, Brody, Colt Cabana, Evil Uno, Grayson versus the Natural Nightmares, Matt Cardona and Scorpio Sky. I think Dark Order wins this one. They'll keep their winning ways with Brody Lee as the champion. They kind of need to win this one. To lose to a bunch of random people thrown together would not make much sense. Tag teams, the Young Bucks, who've been killing it on TV lately. That's why they're the best. Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus, and Jungle Boy. So if you get the Young Bucks to win, and then you have FTR, now you're building up that pay-per-view potentially a couple of months from now with FTR versus the Young Bucks for the championship. I think we might get that. By that time, hopefully more fans in attendance, and we'll get ready to rock and roll. Finally, the Tooth and Nail buy-in match. I'm going to go, it should be Swole. Swole has been out there for a while. Britt Baker just came back, but it's supposed to be inside of a dentist office. So does Britt Baker get the win? That's a tough one because it's in a dentist office, but I think Big Swole deserves to win. However, Britt Baker might get the win. I'm going to go with Big Swole. The whole pizza thing on Dynamite. I think Big Swole is going to take this one. So there you have it. My breakdown and predictions, sure to be wrong, for the AEW All Out pay-per-view. All right, let's take a look at our social media. First up, about the Casino Battle Royale announced for AEW All Out this weekend. Gray says, this is freaking awesome. Can't wait to see Archer and Cage going head-to-head. Yes, I'd agree with that one. I'm looking forward to this weekend so much because I think this is going to be a great pay-per-view. On CM Punk, who in AEW you think he would work with. Gray says everyone knows he's going back to the boring WWE. And we don't care about him and his thoughts. He sucks now. Yeah, I'm a little over the whole CM Punk thing. You made your money on Fox and have a good life. We don't really need you. It would be great to be in there, but if you don't want to be part of the crew, then we don't need you. MJF talks AEW being the company he ends his career in. Sonny says, where could he have he ended his career if not AEW? Well, it would be WWE. Ring of Honor. I think he is a lifer. Could you? I don't think I could. I mean, I never thought I could see AJ Styles in WWE. MJF. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. He could make this run in AEW and be just fine. Predictions that we talked about earlier in the show. We posted this. Kawazi says Moxley will beat MJF. We'll see about that. It was on the Facebooks, on the Twitters. Ant-Man, talking about Aubrey Edwards being a referee, says, and some fans are dumb. Aubrey Edwards is a great referee, great ring awareness, and passion for the industry. We should feel lucky to have her in AEW. I totally agree with that. I just think that we haven't really seen her much on TV as often, but I wonder if that's because they're getting more of their roster and staff back. And Mad Mox Fury Road, we're talking about the AEW Dynamite ratings, 928,000 to 849,000. Says, seems like there's only about 150,000 crossover fans for both shows. Interesting. I agree with that as well. Thanks for the tweet. Now, let's get to our phone call. You know who it is.
It's a go for another phone call there from Mr. Fourth Row. Hey, AEW Week in Review and Mr. Mark, All Out is happening this weekend. in Florida. But unlike that, last year it was in Chicago, and I got to attend. And looking back at that fun, fantastic event, it was a great experience. I got to attend it with my brother from another mother, one of my best friends in the world, who lives in the Quad Cities area, out there in the Illinois area. And it's always fun to experience wrestling with a good friend like that. But the question that was posed to us, what is the match you are looking forward to the most for All Out? And to me, I'm going to just go with the one that I think that could actually steal the show, and that is Thunder Rosa and Hikaru Shida. And that is because they both can make opponents look good in that ring, and that's going to mean a lot to this match. And I think that's the reason why this could be the show stealer. AEW was really, really smart, I think, in bringing Thunder Rosa to their promotion and doing everything that they have done with her so far. So there's way I'm looking at, and that is my view, not from the cheap seats, not from the most expensive seats, but from the fourth row.
Well, thanks, Mr. Fourth Row, for checking in. I'm really surprised. Thunder Rosa versus Shida as his match of the night. That's really interesting. I wouldn't have picked that one, but now you've intrigued me, and now I'm actually going to pay attention to this one. I think personally the showstopper will be the Kenny Omega FTR match. I think Omega is going to make a heel turn and get the buzz going on in the pro wrestling world. All right, next week, we want to hear your ratings. A, B, C, or F. What do you give AEW All Out? That's what we want to hear for next week. Our question of the week is grade AEW All Out. We'll have a special quick show where we just recap AEW All Out. It'll be a lot of fun, and then we'll get back into our normal routine. But give us your review and give it a grade now that schools has basically started. A, B, C, or F. Who cares about D? F. C or F. It's either, forget about D. So we'll want to hear from you next week. Thanks for Mr. Fourth Row for checking in. We are super excited. We got our predictions in there. We'll see. We'll see if we're right or we'll see if we're wrong. So if you want to be part of the show, you can email podcast@prowrestlingnewshub.com or call 888-430-7692 extension 3. Follow us everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, Pro Wrestling News Hub. Like and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate that. Plus, we got our phone apps. And leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We'll read it on our next show. You can listen to us anywhere there's podcasts go. Show notes, prowrestlingnewshub.com/AEW-podcast to find the show notes for this and all of our other episodes. Join our Discord as well. That's it. I am super excited about AEW All Out. I'm sure you are too. We'll have a full recap after the show. And that's it for me, folks. Thanks for listening. Mahalo. Put your mask on. God bless. And I will see you all later.